I would just like to recommend some books as well that have helped me on my business journey. So one of them is called The E-Myth, which is all about systems and processes. So if you think of it, it's basically a book that explains to you the process of how to structure your business and how to set up systems and processes. So it talks about, for example, how McDonald's in all the countries they are in, around the world, how they've gotten such structure and how they've got to, for example, the gherkin in the same place in every burger and how come the fries always look the same. So thinking about those things. And another book would be The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And this is a book that's really about the key foundation stones of not so much just what you want to do with your business, but who you need to be in order to be successful, not just in business, but also in life. And another book would be one of the books that Henry mentioned as well, called Atomic Habits by James Clear. That is a very useful book, and it literally breaks down how you can implement different habits through the course of your day, in your business, in your life, if you're a sports person, just everything. So I definitely recommend that as well. So I'm just going to open up the question. So if anyone wants to ask me a question, you can either if you raise your hand, then you can unmute and then I'll answer your question, or if you feel more comfortable, you can put it in the chat box as well. So does anyone have any questions to start with?
Hi, Natalie. I have a quick question. Did you have any role models when you were getting started out in your business journey that, you know, not necessarily in terms of your business model, but just kind of in the way that you wanted to present yourself and be a business owner? Was there anybody that was an inspiration to you in the early stages?
Do you know what I think? It was inspiration. I think for me, because I'd kind of like done a lot of research and been reading about different brands and different strategies, I think for me it was more about the approach to business. So Gary Vee was a big inspiration to me, more just in terms of his tenacity and the way that he approached business, and also, you know, approaching it even if you're nervous and scared or whatever, but you're just still taking action and being very, very proactive in that. Yeah, he was quite inspirational for me. But also people like Jo Malone, who started, you know, from her kitchen table and grew her business into a multi-million-pound business as well. She was a big inspiration as well.
Okay, I'll ask another question if nobody's got anything else. So yeah, this year in Camden, we're celebrating Black History season. So we're celebrating it from October to December. So in what ways can we as a community support, you know, local Black businesses, especially as we're in the pandemic at the minute, and we might not be able to go in person to the store if it's on the high street, for example? What ways can we support as a community?
You know, that's a really good question. I mean, I think for me personally, like what I try to do is get recommendations from friends if I'm not sure. So it would be like ordering online, having a quick Google. Like for me, it would be I would go to like Black Pound Day's website because they've got an amazing directory of so many different businesses. And once you start going through the listings, you realize that there are so many Black businesses you can actively support without having to go outside of the community, which I think is a wonderful feeling as well. Or you can search on Instagram using the hashtag Black Pound Day, and you'll be amazed at the amount of different businesses that come up. And as well, I think, yeah, and actually there's another website called Jammy that's amazing. And they have lots of different Black businesses as well that you can order from and support. And a lot of businesses these days are online because a lot of like makers like myself, we're not really doing markets at the moment. So that's a, you know, so that's a really good way as well.
Good evening, Natalie. What would be the first step? See, it's very easy to procrastinate when you're thinking of a business, you know, as others may also think, you know, thinking about your branding or how you're going to come across with the business. What would be the first step that you would recommend? Like the first step if let's say I have an idea and how I want to execute it?
Mm-hmm. I would say, if it was, for example, a product, so for me, like my first step was doing mock-ups of my labels in terms of like my branding and packaging, and seeing how it felt and getting feedback on that. Because often, you know, as I said, like if it's just you just thinking about something and you don't really have a team, you know, per se, I would say lean on your community, you know, your friends and your family, and ask them for feedback. And also, do you know what, you can also send it out to people you don't necessarily know that closely, because friends and family can often be quite kind with their feedback. So sometimes it's nice to kind of get a bit of constructive criticism so that you can refine it and kind of see what works, what doesn't work, what people like, what people are most drawn to as well.
Okay, and starting off, did you have a team or anybody that you're working with, or was it all solely independent?
Completely independent, to be honest. I had friends and family and other people that I could ask for advice and get feedback from. But a lot of it was just me. And also, actually, just to mention, before I actually launched my business last summer, I'd been thinking about the business idea for years. And I think that's the thing. I think sometimes it takes a push or an external event for you to kind of be propelled into action.
Sorry, man, what was that push?
It was my father's passing, actually. My father passed away unexpectedly, but it was and I mean, it wasn't a good thing, obviously, him passing, but it gave me the impetus to kind of follow my dreams, because one, it was unexpected, and you realize how short life is, and like no one's tomorrow is promised. So it really puts into perspective, do you know what? If I want to achieve my goals and if I have dreams, I want to die empty of my creative ideas. So for me, like that was the thing of really propelling me to take the next step, instead of kind of procrastinating and umming and ahhing about, is this right, is that right, just going, do you know what, now's the time. And if I don't let the world see, you know, the gift that I've created and that I want to share, how will I ever know if it's really going to be a success, unless I really just put it out into the world and get some real life experience and feedback.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that, Natalie. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your question. Thank you. And thank you, Louise, as well, for yours.
I've got one as well, Natalie. Good evening to you.
Hello, good evening, Dwayne.
I think I've joined this room slightly late, so forgive me if I've missed this question about to ask. So it's around funding, financing of starting a business, in particular, without the lack of financial backing.
Yeah.
What would you recommend, or how would you suggest that you navigate around the actual system, and in particular, where a number of small businesses that haven't got the, if you like, the ability to put together like a business module to try and, if you like, convince the financial institution. What would you, is there a forum that you would actually recommend that someone looking to start out can actually go to get that support, to obviously facilitate that financial backing?
Well, personally speaking, I'm actually self-funded. So I just took the leap and just invested my savings into my business, because I, just believed in it. But there are people that do offer loans and grants and things. So you've got the startup loans. Also Virgin Startups, they have a funding system that they do as well. So you can apply for funding. And also I would say, do you know what, ask your community, like ask your contacts, because you'd be surprised. And especially now in the climate we're in, people, there are a lot of people out there who have savings, and in the regular bank account it's like 1%. And if you could say to them, do you know what, in 2 years time I could give you a 10% return on your money, then that would be a good investment for them, and also helps you to grow, and they also feel like they're part of nurturing a business community and a small business. But aside from that, you could also do crowdfunding. I know a couple of businesses that have done that, and that's worked quite well for them also.
Okay, thank you very much. That's very useful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Dwayne. So we've just got a couple of minutes left. I just wanted to check if anyone else has any questions.
Yeah, hi. At any point of your journey, did you get like stuck in terms of inspiration, or just basically stuck in, like, you come to a point where nothing was moving forward? And if you did, like, what advice would you give?
Oh, okay. Thank you for your question, Katura. Yeah, that happened quite a few times. But I had to go back to my why. I had to go back to my purpose and what I wanted to share with the world. And for me, because it's a chakra-based business, I wanted to share the concept of wellness. So for me, with my creams, I also do affirmation cards as well. So I was reminded that, you know, it's not just me that is benefiting from it. I want to share that with other people and give them the gift of, you know, well-being and just being able to be relaxed and be comfortable in their own skin. So for me, what I used to do, or what I would do, is just hang out, because I've got 2 small children. So I would hang out with my boys, take them to the park, just go for a walk outside, or just hang out with friends. But essentially just doing something that filled me with joy, something that made me just feel, you know, like myself, without, you know, being bogged down with all of the big ideas. And when you get stuck inspirationally, it's a really hard thing to shift from, but you just have to just leave it alone and just let it just, you know, just be on the back burner, because your mind will always come up with a solution to any problem. But sometimes if you're thinking about it too much, you're just blocking yourself. So, you know, often it's the best thing to do is just to get out of your own way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Tara. Thank you for your question as well. So are there any more questions that I can help anyone with?
I have one.
Hello there.
I joined really late into the call, but is there a way that, how would you recommend managing studying and starting up your own business?
I would say batching, and I'm just going to say I've got about 30 seconds. I'm going to make this super quick, but I would say batching up your time. So if you do 90 minutes of studying, then take a 20-minute break, and then use the following 90 minutes to work on your business idea. And also just have like a blank sheet of paper where you're just brain dumping. If you have an idea, you know, whilst you're studying, then just brain dump it on the paper and leave it until your 90 minutes has passed, so that you can really give the best of yourself to your studies as well as to your business.
Okay, thank you. That was really informative.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So I've literally got just 18 seconds left, and it's counting down as I'm speaking. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming this evening, and thank you for all of your really awesome questions, because I think it's important that we're able to share and just to hear each other as well. So thank you. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of it.